Room 43, Episode 1. A rainy Monday morning begins like any other day at the Regal Hotel in Port Harcourt, with housekeeper Bimbo stumbles upon a gruesome scene in room 43. Vanessa Graham lies on the floor, her face bruised, her neck bearing deep marks. The room is early spotless, but something feels off. Detective Sandra Cole, known for her sharp instincts and unrelenting nature, arrives at the scene. As she examines the room, the bed is untouched, and the curtains are drawn shut even though it's daytime. And Sandra immediately knows this is not an ordinary case. Sandra interviews Bimbo, the housekeeper, who is visibly shaking. Sandra, you said you found her like this. Did you touch anything in the room? Bimbo answered, No, ma. As soon as I saw her like this, I screamed and I called my supervisor. Sandra asked, Was the room locked when you arrived? Bimbo answered, Yes, ma. I used my master key to open it for cleaning. Sandra nods reassuringly, but makes a mental note to double-check the hotel's access logs. Back at the station, Sandra's team begins piecing together what little they have. Vanessa Graham is identified as a journalist from Lagos who had recently moved to Port Harcourt. Her last known location before the hotel is unclear, and her phone is missing. Sandra assigns Officer Greg to retrieve and review the hotel's CCTV footage, while Officer Ada questions the hotel staff. Suspicion mounts as they uncover a note in Vanessa's purse that reads, Room 43, midnight, don't be late. The note raises more questions than answers. Who was Vanessa meeting and why? Sandra's gut tells her that the answers lies in Vanessa's mysterious life in Port Harcourt, a life no one seems to know much about. As Sandra reviews the initial findings, Officer Greg reports an anomaly with the hotel's CCTV footage. We've got Vanessa entering the hotel at 9:30 p.m., but there is no record of her leaving. There is also a hooded figure near the elevator around midnight. The time matches the note. Have we identified the person? Greg said, Not yet. The footage is grainy, and the hoods hide their face. Meanwhile, Officer Ada learns from the hotel staff that Vanessa often met a man at the hotel bar. War bartender Tunde recalls seeing her the night before. She was with a man, older, well-dressed. They sat in a corner booth, talking quietly. Ada asked, Did you catch his name or overhear anything? Tunde answered, No, but I remember his car, a black Lexus with a government plate. This revelation points Sandra towards a powerful lead. A search into the government-registered vehicle shows a match to Chief Douglas Green, a wealthy and influential politician. Sandra schedules a meeting with Chief Green, but her instinct tells her he won't make this easy. Back at the precinct, Sandra is handed a preliminary autopsy report. Cause of death, strangulation. Time, between 11:30 p.m. and 12:30 p.m. The report also notes faint bruises on Vanessa's wrist, suggesting a struggle. As the puzzle pieces slowly falls into place, Sandra knows two things. Someone wanted Vanessa silenced, and they were powerful enough to cover their tracks. Sandra meets Chief Douglas Green in his mansion. He admits knowing Vanessa, but denies any involvement in her demise. Chief, witnesses saw you with Vanessa the night she was silenced. Can you explain? Chief Green, Yes, I met her. Vanessa was persistent. She wanted a story from me about questionable dealings in the government. I told her to stop digging. That's all. Sandra. Yet she ended up in a hotel she checked into after meeting you. Chief Green says, Detective, I'm not a kid. Look elsewhere. Sandra leaves the meeting unconvinced. The powerful politician's dismissive attitude only raises more questions. Meanwhile, Greg uncovers a deleted segment from the hotel's CCTV. The footage shows Vanessa arguing with a hooded figure near the elevator just after midnight. Sandra sends a forensic team to extract more ideas. Back at the station, Vanessa's best friend, Anita Bello, is questioned. Anita admits Vanessa was working on an explosive expose that involved politicians and a criminal syndicate. She reveals Vanessa had recently expressed her fear, saying, "They are onto me." Sandra receives an anonymous call warning her to stay off the case. Caller: Detective Curl, drop the investigation. Room 43 was a message. If you keep pushing, you will be next. Sandra answered, "Who is this? What do you know about Vanessa's demise?" Sandra traces the call to a burner phone, leading to a dead end. Meanwhile, Greg uncovers deleted footage showing a man leaving room 43 at 12:15 a.m., carrying a black bag. The figure shows the hooded man spotted earlier. Chief Green's alibi crumbles when evidence emerges linking him to bank transactions involving Vanessa. The payments were substantial, but Green insists they were for consulting works. Sandra's team discovers Vanessa's laptop hidden in her apartment. On it, they find incomplete drafts of her expose implicating Chief Green in a money laundering scheme tied to a notorious criminal known as Don Eric. Sandra also learns Vanessa had recently been in contact with her ex-boyfriend Kelvin Banks, a con artist with a history of fraud. Kelvin is brought in for questioning. Sandra: What was your relationship with Vanessa before her demise? Kelvin: We hadn't spoken in months. Sandra asked, Why did Vanessa text you the night she was silenced? Kelvin stammers, I didn't reply. Look, we had history. But I didn't silence her. Sandra doesn't believe him. Kelvin's reluctance to share more raises more suspicion. Sandra interrogates hotel security guard Jide, who admits to being bribed to delete CCTV footage. Jide: They said it was a misunderstanding, I swear. I didn't know anyone died. Who bribed you? Jide: I don't know his name, but he drove a black Lexus. Chief Green's connection to the crime deepens. Sandra gets a warrant to search his office, where she discovers incriminating documents tying him to Don Eric's syndicate. Sandra confronts Chief Green with the evidence, but he maintains his innocence. Chief Green: Detective, this is a witch hunt. I may know Don Eric, but I had nothing to do with Vanessa's demise. Sandra: And yet all road leads to you. Sandra's team tracks the black bag seen in the footage to a pawn shop, where it was sold by a man matching Kelvin's description. Sandra sets a trap to lure Kelvin out, posing as a buyer interested in the black bag. She arranges a meeting. Kelvin shows up, panics, and tries to flee but is caught. Under interrogation, Kelvin admits he met Vanessa the night she was silenced. Kelvin: She called me, desperate. She said she was in trouble. When I got to the room, she was arguing with someone in the phone. Sandra asks, Who? I don't know. She told me to leave before they arrived. Anita provides Vanessa's diary, which contains cryptic entries about a deal gone wrong. One entry mentions Don Eric and a warning she received: stay silent or face the consequences. Sandra's team raids Don Eric's hideout but finds it empty. However, they recover evidence linking Don Eric to Chief Green. Sandra narrowly escapes an ambush while heading home, confirming that her investigation is putting her in danger. She pushes further, determined to bring the truth to light.